Yeah, hey, you had me at that. Okay, so are we just going?
We're going.
Hey, welcome everyone. It is great to see you here tonight. I want to invite you to get comfortable. My name is Josh. We're going to open up this evening with a word from Slido. So if you want to get your phones out and maneuver to your cameras, use the QR code and join us in Slido.
You guys didn't know you were going to get homework.
All right, I'm ready.
Believe me, this is fun, interactive elements that you guys are getting to enjoy.
Interactive element first.
And
All right, let's try to load.
our first question is, what is your favorite book?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Wi-Fi, by the way,
Is there correct?
there's a what? No, there is no correct answer. No, Reason Romance is not the correct answer. Use something else. The Wi-Fi password is Smoky Row, all lowercase. Yes, I very quickly realized that I needed that. The code for it.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you, Mother.
No.
Oh, it is your mom's.
Well, okay, of the people in this room, who else was going to bring Emma? Josh.
No. I like the movie. Mostly because he
I was
didn't
gonna
watch
say,
it. But I enjoyed it.
That's right, I think you watched it, didn't I?
Yeah. And I
Do you
was
know
like
how
so
many people?
jubilant at the
Do you
end.
know how many people I have made watch that movie at this point?
Oh, it's a classic.
My
I love
buddy in Canada,
Emma
I'm
movie?
like forcing him to watch it now.
It's
Forced him to read
Canadians
the
are
book.
nicer. They will love it even more.
Is
I need to
all
write
right?
it.
Is it a classic?
It is.
Yeah.
Freakonomics.
I used to be in
that
a
could use some
console
explaining.
class teaching the classics. That book never came up, so I've never heard of it. Yeah.
Have you never read it?
That's just
Freakonomics.
Is
What's it
the
about?
obscure
Yeah.
way economics
It's about
impacts the
accounting.
world.
Wow.
So like rice shortages in China
It's
affects
like Jane Austen.
wheat production
That
in
sounds
Africa.
interesting.
Okay.
Something like that.
So it's
I'm down.
They've been doing a
I would read
podcast
that.
for years too.
Huh.
You actually might want
They
to.
have a couple of them
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
The first one
I could definitely look into that one.
And the only person here going to heaven wrote the Bible.
So
It is
there's
just books.
The second question we've got here is,
read.
if you guys wrote a book,
what would you name your
This
book?
is someone.
I see some
Josh, what would you name your book?
frequently typing away. I would name my book Terrance Can't Sit Still.
Can't Sit Still, a memoir by Josh Carpenter.
Life from
Yeah.
in reverse.
I did. Did you not?
Because I was more still as a kid than as an adult. Starting with your 35. Yes, that's what it would be called.
I had one before.
Dave's
It was
World?
like a joke, and I thought it was
Dave's
really
World.
Is that
that would be
your
my
mom's book?
that would be actually that would be my mom's book.
Oh.
Actually, so
It's not your mom's book.
Jonathan Edwards' wife wrote a book called Marriage to a Difficult Man. So the fact that my mother is not going to entitle her book Marriage to a Difficult Man is just
That
That was me.
Oh, that was you. So
what would
I name my
book?
that is
Oh,
true.
Dave's
I've
World.
actually
Dave's
joked about if I write a
There's
memoir
only
about my
characters
growing up
in it.
years, I'd be calling it "This Is My Father's World."
I didn't think about
A
this.
literal account.
A literal account.
It's not letting me put in enough words.
Yeah, I don't have
You can just shout it out.
That's okay. Just shout it out, guys.
Yeah.
Nobody wants a long book title.
Are
Dang
you?
it.
Nobody here but us chickens.
Wow. That's
Okay,
a title and a half. I like it.
JP.
Yes.
Mine's not loading for your question.
No. What would you call it?
Oh. Bible 2.0.
Whoa.
Wow, that's not going to send you to hell.
Yeah, that's yeah, like Answer to Life is 42-ish or something like that. So Mason,
That
do you have a title for your book?
Did. It's not short
Yeah.
enough. Hang on.
No. Tell us what would you call your book?
What I was gonna write is 0, semicolon. You can't lose what you don't have.
Oh, bestseller.
I think that's a good memoir of my dating life. So
moving on to the
moving
book.
on to the book.
Perfect segue.
Perfect segue.
Let's talk about reason and romance. Terrance, what is this book all about?
Reason and Romance is the story of George Austen, a novelist of serious fiction. He doesn't think that romance is a credible genre. He literally says it's worthless. And the book is a story of him learning how wrong he is. And of course, finding love along the way, people that life is meant to be shared with.
Excellent. So why did you write this book?
Because when I've tried writing like 4 books, and I've never actually finished one. For years. And I actually was going to write nonfiction, but instead, a buddy of mine challenged me. He's like, hey, why don't you just, finish writing something? And I'm like, okay, fair enough. And of all the projects that I had in mind, I had this idea, and I went, okay, this is the easiest one that I think that I can finish. And then I was proven wrong as I then wrote it.
Gotcha. Well, hey, I'm akin to a lot of growth groups, so automatically I thought I need a book group for this book. Can you see that interacting well?
I think it would be fascinating.
I legitimately said that before,
incredible
but it's probably not the
group
best
book
title I've come up with.
because what it does is the title
Remember I
lies
talked to you about that.
really is a book about it's a thoughtful reflection in genuineness. Most people, like I had friends that when I told them I was writing romance novel, they're like, oh, of course, they think of a bodice ripper where you have Fabio on the cover, like Channing Tatum in The Lost City. Instead, what I wrote was something more akin to a Jane Austen novel, where it's a book about dialogue. It's a book about the interactions between real people.
Yes.
And that's what I did, is I tried to make the realist characters.
Yeah. It's a romance novel, right? So some would say no one wants to read a romance written by a man. So why didn't you use a pseudonym?
So I've thought about using a pseudonym when I first started writing as a kid.
Would parents be your pseudonym?
Parents would not be my pseudonym.
okay.
You know what? Maybe if I was trying for like a diversity thing, I'd consider it. But I didn't want to go that route because it didn't matter whether or not it was ridiculous or not. I wanted to have my own view on it because at the end of the day, even just holding in my hand and when I first read it, I'm like, okay, I actually wrote a reasonably good book, which shocked me, and I'm delighted to have my name on it.
I know I can't wait to read it, but I hear that you're going to give us a little sneak peek.
I am going to give you guys a sneak peek. So
Excellent.
I picked out a brief passage with the help of the famous sister of mine, who will probably be a better novelist than myself, Truth. And she recommended this section, and it is one of my favorites in the book.
Excellent.
After everyone had left for the night, George was sprawled on the couch, head reclined, eyes fixed on the ceiling above him, eyebrows knit together in consideration. He thought a cigarette would suit the moment, but the prospect of lung cancer weighed stronger than the image of coolness he might capture for an instant. The whiskey was good, though. 2 fingers of Jack Daniels Sinatra Select over 3 ice cubes. The cool liquid warmed his mouth as he took his sip. Whiskey post-party, Samantha observed, taking a seat across from him. It was a good night for all of us. It wasn't unusual for her to find her brother like this after a party. In fact, it had become something of a tradition. George would be taxed after a large social gathering, and as he recovered from his social hangover, they would post-mortem the night's activities. There wasn't a chance in hell she was going to miss this one if she was paid to. With a cup of hot tea in one hand and a bag of microwave popcorn in the other, she was settled in for the entertainment. Margaret Clark is morbidly fascinating, George pronounced, declaring it like a king pronouncing life or death. Morbidly fascinating, Samantha mused. How every woman longs to be described. He silently ignored her. She read you like a book. How did that make you feel? She asked with a little too much enthusiasm. Who could blame her? So used to command, being unflustered, her brother rarely appeared anything less than perfectly put together. Like I should probably read her book, George sighed. He explained how he had unknowingly belittled Margaret's work and readership. Knowing she was there wouldn't have changed my opinions, but I might have said it a little less harshly. When there was no response, George peered over to find she was intently texting. Have you heard a word I said? Samantha held up a finger. Finishing her text, she returned her attention to George. It was him, wasn't it? He asked irritably. She ignored the question. You acted condescending to a new author about a genre you avoid like the plague. Somehow you think you would have acted differently if you had known you were talking to the author of the book, she summarized, popping a kernel in her mouth. I think you would have said the exact same thing. Maybe with more humor, but she's smart enough to have heard the exact same thing. He knew she was right, even if he didn't want to admit it out loud. He took another sip of the Sinatra. He wasn't unfamiliar with putting his foot in his mouth. It happened. People usually forgave words uttered in haste sooner than he would regret saying them. Margaret's assessment of him rankled, but it was bearable. He'd heard it said the truth was often more bitter than lies, and this might be one of those cases. Helen, the manipulative wench, had engineered the encounter, luring him into speaking about good intentions. She had been the one to direct Margaret's assessment, too. He considered what his best options for retaliation might be. A few ideas presented themselves, but none could be taken immediately. Best to accept his licks now and wait for time to present the best opportunity for revenge in the future. She's pretty, you know, Samantha observed, breaking her brother's arm. Ooh. Margaret Clark, she replied dryly. Her eyes are rather fetching, she teased. Yes, she is, George agreed matter-of-factly. As many women are, and if you expect me to say more on the matter, then you have less wit than I credited you with.
Yes, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that little excerpt with us. So there's a question that begs in our minds. Which authors have influenced your writing the most?
For this book specifically, it is definitely Jane Austen. She wrote some of the most incredible books ever written. Emma, Pride and Prejudice. Even if I haven't necessarily enjoyed some of the other ones as much, those two books alone shower her with every degree of praise. Besides that, Jules Verne, I love those classic adventure stories. There's a reason why he is one of the few authors that we can think of today where almost every one of his books are still remembered. We can all remember Around the World in 8 Days. We can all remember Journey to the South of the Earth. We can all remember 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. These fantastical tales with charismatic leads. Besides them, Arthur Conan Doyle, Sherlock Holmes, Agatha Christie. I've read widely, and so there are lots of authors I could name, but those are just nothing.
So interesting.
Oh, Ian Fleming. Let's say James
very
Bond.
good.
Definitely
Yes.
has
Has to make it in.
Has to make it in there.
So you've got this genre of action, excitement, adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Does that find its way in any sense into this book? I mean, reason and romance. One could reason romance kind of fits that criteria.
It's interesting you make that comment because something I did not expect is one of the advanced copies I sent a friend. When I got her review back, what she said was her favorite genre is mysteries. And what she didn't expect to find was that my book read a lot like a mystery.
Interesting.
And I didn't necessarily do it intentionally, but what I did try to do is something that is common in mysteries, where almost every chapter kind of ends with a revelation or a question mark that then engages you to keep on going.
Interesting.
So it was not unintentional, but it definitely had an effect in the way
Hey,
the book was written.
Emily.
Hello.
Our famous
Hello.
celebrity come home.
Oh.
And Liam Helmsworth, everybody. Yeah. Excellent. Yes, Terrance, so there's a bit of mystery, a bit of action and adventure, all can be wrapped up into romance, right? And so with this question mark, exactly,
Yes.
with this question mark, we're going to go and do a quiz of your author's favorite cocktails.
I know this is
should be
actually
fun.
this is probably my
We're going to
favorite
get
question.
interactive now.
If you guys are able to interact with nothing else that we have created,
I think Tenacious D is going to get 100 on this.
this quiz is amazing.
If you have your phone, you can scan the QR code. It's not working for anyone else in the room, but you can try.
Give it a shot.
Apple.
I will
We
blame.
bought your product.
I blame the internet here.
Okay.
That's what I blame.
I guess I can do that. Unhook it.
Zoom in your camera.
Okay, so which author's signature drink was a mojito?
Care to take a guess?
I
we
know
get
the
any
answers already.
hints?
The fact is, all of these drinks, if you know the history of when these people wrote or anything about them, you can guess it usually. So, I'm sorry. This is a game rigged for people like me. There is at least one of these that you guys had better get. Otherwise, I'll be very disappointed.
Is it because
and
we've
I'll
been in
think
the doche together so many times?
possibly. It's more that by nature of knowing me, you will
Oh,
know
okay.
the answer.
So embrace the tea.
Embrace
Get-
the T-ness.
Get these right.
Okay, so question 1. Here are the results.
Let's see what you guys say. Oh, 50% Jules Verne for mojito.
And the correct answer is
Ernest
Hemingway.
Hemingway. Raise your hand if you guessed Ernest Hemingway. Okay, that's 17% of this group right there.
Which, knowing my mother, actually does not surprise me. All right. Which author's favorite drink was a gin Ricky?
Interesting.
Again, if you know the time period, you might. I think that you'll be able to get this one.
Take a guess.
For those who don't remember,
I know.
I was gonna say what books these guys wrote. Jane Austen wrote Pride and Prejudice, obviously known as being a very big alcoholic. Charles Dickens, who wrote
Seems more like a brown liquor guy to me. Charles Dickens. I mean, he's got maybe some bourbon.
Probably. Well, they would have had bourbon because it was. That comes from Kentucky. And the states were a very formative thing at the time.
Charles Dickens was missing out.
Charles Dickens was definitely missing out.
Looks amazing.
All right. So the results. These are results.
2/3 of you said
Scott
Charles
Charles
Dickens.
Dickens. The correct answer is F. Scott Fitzgerald.
Wow. We have a goose egg.
It's
Our first
gin.
goose egg of the night.
It's a gin Ricky.
Fitzgerald.
Well, Fitzgerald wrote during the 1920s during Prohibition. Gin was the drink of the time that replaced everything else. In fact,
Interesting.
the entire Irish economy literally crashed because they were no longer exporting whiskey
We've
to
all
the
now
Americas.
failed American history. Right
Yes.
here, right now.
There is a
Live.
fascinating book that actually talks about how the history of America is the history of alcohol.
And they would be correct.
Yeah.
It is almost
I
entirely
would buy
based
that
on.
book. Excellent.
I need to look it up. There's a book club we should do.
That's a book club. After this one.
After this one. Which author's signature drink was
A gimlet.
a gimlet?
That sounds like a scary movie.
The gimlet sounds like a good movie. It also sounds like something I'd call one of my younger siblings.
What a gimlet.
What a gimlet!
What a
Oh, which one did I call that?
Okay.
Okay. Care to take a guess? Which author's signature drink was a gimlet? Did he drink his gimlet or she drink the gimlet from a goblet?
I hope so.
Question?
Gimlets from goblets.
That
Wow.
sounds like a great band name.
The gimlet goblet.
Yes, I like it.
Can we throw in one more G? Gaggles of gaggles of gimlets and goblets.
Say that 5 times fast.
Gaggles of gimlets and
This
goblets.
is the effect I have on people. Anyway.
This is truly what it is. Here are the results. Emily
Oh, it's a
Dickens.
split. Look at this, neck and neck. Wow. Uh-oh.
Okay, now,
Oh, we got a
any guesses?
tiebreaker question in there.
Raymond Chandler, author
course.
of The Big Sleep
You got it.
and other
Nice.
hard-boiled
Nice,
detective
Mason.
novels.
Excellent.
These are all shots in the dark, by the way.
Shots in the dark.
Shots in the Dark. But wait,
Shots
no,
fired
that
in the
was that was the name of an ACDC song. I was gonna say great band name, but I think that's soon.
They could.
Okay, again, guys, there is a give me here. I will be very disappointed if some of you get this question wrong.
Are you kidding?
Which author's signature drink was
A Vesper Martini.
There's a 90% chance I will always get this one.
I know this one. I just want to see who's going to get it wrong.
Well, Emily, it's okay. I'll send you the flyers later. You can educate yourself.
Okay, break our hearts with this one. Oh, everyone says Ian Fleming. Almost everyone says Ian Fleming. And almost everyone is correct.
Emily, did you choose Jane Austen?
No.
Okay.
Who chose Jane Austen?
My father, of course. That was the reason my mom was hanging her head in horror. So, fun fact, Ian Fleming created the Vesper Martini, and when he had never tried it though, and then he tried it and said, "Oh my goodness, I have made a horrible drink."
Well, speaking of horrible drinks, but in the antithesis,
By the way, just
I
to
like to go
clarify,
with your favorite drinks.
the winner is.
Okay, let's announce the winner. Mason
Oh
was
wait,
the
I
winner.
finished. Mason was the winner.
Mason was the winner. Give Mason a hand, everybody.
Okay, so here's a multiple choice where there is not necessarily. Actually, I can't remember if I gave the correct answer on this, but
T's favorite
I'm
drinks.
curious what you guys think my signature drink is.
Where's Trish Gadget?
Oh, that one's in special
That's what I
reserve
was gonna
category. That one's for
Anything
T's
someone
birthday
else's
and birthday
mind.
alone. She unlocks secret drinks on her birthday.
my mother's like, why is it water? Gosh.
Okay.
What's a
Hey,
signature?
someone switched their answer.
What's a signature? We can do
Signature drink. It just means it's very authentically me.
I think is much
Oh,
below the
gotcha.
Well, it's the thing that I
Failed to
choose as like
master.
my iconic drink. The thing that I would be known for drinking.
29%. That's an odd percentage. That's a really odd percentage.
But you know what? I think that it's basically split between definitely the three front runners there.
Well, I mean, whoever said
So
bourbon,
whoever said bourbon should change your answer.
may God bless you.
God bless you, you chose.
God bless you, every bourbon. Okay, so teas, signature drink. If you're tea's friend, you know this one. Maybe the bourbon is just because they like bourbon, which isn't terrible.
But I've also seen you drink many different.
That's the thing.
so
I've had all of these, and honestly, I was really curious what
You like
people
them
would
all.
think is my
You're not
favorite.
prejudiced.
Yeah, I am not prejudiced. Again, there is that thing where anything someone else is buying, short of it being beer, I'd definitely be up to
Vouch
try.
for that.
But
Yes.
I will definitely say these days the single malt is winning my heart and liver
Oh, so
in
you got an
an old
answer?
fashioned.
in grand old fashion.
No pun intended. It's an old fashioned,
Yeah, no,
but that is a good drink.
but that is a good drink. Okay, so
Okay,
yeah,
so-
that was that one.
Correct answer is.
There is no correct answer. I was curious. This was
Really?
a poll. This was a poll
Oh,
to see
you've been
what
there.
people thought.
Can you eat?
I know.
It's the meeting room, no?
No, sorry.
Okay, sorry about that. You're okay.
No, but they haven't brought our coffee yet.
Panini is not your favorite drink. Or I'd say that. Panini is not your favorite food.
It's not my favorite food.
So,
that we don't have
there's
that
no
question.
correct answer. You're gonna
There
leave
is
us
no correct
hanging
answer.
on that.
I was curious what people would think. I would definitely say it is a very sharp. It is really hard for me to choose between a good martini, vodka martini, shaken, not stirred, of course, with a large slice of lemon peel, and a dash of vermouth.
Okay.
But there's just, a single malt scotch, a really good single malt scotch. You could just, you only need to drink a little bit of
That's
it,
right.
and it packs such a wild
That's right.
punch.
That's right.
But a martini glass, who doesn't look cool?
I learned
Martini
recently that for the low cost of $7,000, a Bond pinball machine can be yours. The low cost.
Josh, thank you for my birthday gift.
Oh, you know, only about me and 7,000 other people going on it together.
We can start the
We- I
we
felt
can
like
start
we
the
needed to know that.
GoFundMe now.
I think we should.
We
I
should.
really do.
To celebrate my
We do. Are you a cigar guy?
No, I am not a cigar guy. Violently not a cigar guy.
Did your mom? Did she put the slides forward? Is that what happened?
Oh no! Wait, so these are actually. So a function of
Look at
Slido
this.
that I forgot is that you can
I think
actually
mom
have
and
the
dad need
audience
to
ask
participate in this, I feel
questions of the speaker.
Okay, so are you a cigar guy? Let's take them in order.
No, I am not a
Why
cigar
not?
guy because I have tried cigars and I was violently ill the next day. I could not get out of bed.
Is there any witnesses in this room of that?
Witnesses of the pre, yes, there are witnesses that say I did smoke a cigar.
Gotcha.
However, thank goodness there are not witnesses to
I still
the
hold out
events
hope that you might try
afterwards.
again.
Hey,
Maybe
Josh,
at some-
Josh,
maybe at
keep
some
hoping.
point.
You know
I don't
what? Birth of my firstborn.
Okay, there we go.
I will smoke again.
I'm gonna wait on purchasing.
Someone
Yes.
says
What? We're shut down. We've been shut down. Our lease is up.
There it is.
What defines your personal signature? Or what is your favorite drink? You can choose.
What is my favorite
This is
drink?
your party.
My mother's in the room. Water. Water is my favorite drink.
Okay. So because your mom's in the room, who is your favorite sibling?
Oh,
this is from Anonymous.
Who is my favorite sibling? I don't.
Oh.
Uh,
Changing up.
I don't have favorite siblings, as I will tell all of them, except I'll tell them all that they're really my favorite, and I just lie to the rest of them.
That's a team move. That's
It is a
pro
team move. It
right
is
there.
pro team.
All right. Who is your favorite Disney princess?
Oh, that's easy, Belle.
Okay.
I mean,
Keeping it classy.
classy. She likes books.
True.
Do I need anything
She's
more?
French.
She's voiced by Paige O'Hara.
Okay.
I am the only
Who that is.
person.
Okay.
Paige O'Hara is gorgeous.
I'll take your word for it.
What defines my personal signature?
Pretty sure Ben Stiller was the Beast. That's not true.
So not
Very
true.
not true.
I will
Everyone
school
knows
you
this.
in.
Kelsey Grammer in
Oh.
X-Men.
Oh, Kelsey Grammer was. Oh, that's true. But
The question
is
is,
there a special lady in my life? Yes, Lady Luck.
Oh, I think it's your mom.
Oh yes, my mother. My mother.
Missed
I
the
can
chance,
only
dude.
hope.
Come on.
I can only hope to find
Appreciate
a
the
woman
sibling.
as high quality as my mother.
It's on the way.
It is true. It genuinely is trouble.
Excellent.
Okay, so let's.
I have one last
Amazing.
section of movies though.
Yes.
Who played Devin in Hunger Games?
Liam Hemsworth, and he spent his entire life training to be Devin.
Yes, I heard that. That was.
It's a
that
well-known
was-
fact
that's
on
all-
IMDb.
It's all over Reddit. There's Reddit upon Reddit of that. Look it up.
What's the bottle?
Don't
That
lie.
was my date
Okay.
last weekend. I did not go on the singles mixer.
So, but I think they're referring to the day it was. So
Oh.
the date.
Oh, how did my
Not
date
really.
go last week? Last weekend, my date was it was the 28th, right?
Yeah.
It was 28th. Yeah, my weekend was the 28th.
It
That was
was
the
good.
date. It was a good
It's
date.
a good date.
I mean, of all the dates, I could go with the 28th. Although I think that doesn't what's his face say that like his favorite date, the perfect date, and he's like April 23rd.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
it's congeniality.
It's congeniality.
The first
I-
one.
yeah, so I-
yeah. Just because you need a light jacket. I was thinking of that randomly yesterday. No lie. So we have no signal now. which
that's
means
okay. I
we're
turned
going
the
to
computer
move
back
on.
on.
Yes. To how long did it take for you to write Reason and Romance?
I wrote Reason and Romance in about 18 months, I think. I started the book in December of 2020 as I was hiding from my family after Christmas. And then I finished the book. The final draft got submitted as a manuscript in not April, because last month was April. I think it was January of 2022.
Okay.
So a little over a year.
Right. Excellent. Okay. Now, what was the most difficult part of the writing process for you for this book?
The revision took more than I expected.
Was it the Reason or the Romance?
It was definitely the road. Josh, you're a close friend, so you know this, but shockingly enough, Reason has generally been easy for me unless there's romance involved. So that's what the conflict of
I
writing
can
this
vouch
book
for that.
was. You have two opposing ideas, and that's what actually makes not only a good title, but a good book.
Excellent. So, just out of curiosity, what was the funnest part?
The funnest part of writing the book is there's a scene where things move to Lake Geneva, which is where I'm from. And there I was able to literally walk into my own playground and go, what could I do? Because it's writing, I can make anything happen. So I originally had these characters sitting there playing poker, and we had some good dialogue with it, and it was fine, it was a good scene. But then when I was revising it that final time, I was like, this can be better, make this better. A big, bombastic, Great Gatsby-style party where I get to make jokes about how horrible bow ties are to try tying. And it was a delightful scene where, from the moment the character steps onto the party, there's an energy that I, as the writer, felt writing that scene, and it's one of my favorites because it leads to what I think is the most human moment in the book.
Excellent. Yeah, so we know that no writer is free of something called writer's block, right? So for you, what was the hardest part to write?
The hardest part was writing the resolution for the characters because, okay, conflict is easy to create. All you have to do is have two people really pit against each other having a conflicted opinion. She thinks this, he thinks that. They both believe they're right, and they get in the same room, and they are...
Dust flies.
The dust flies because they each want the same thing or opposing things.
Right.
But finding a way to de-escalate, where we're not going from 60 to 0 in a heartbeat, making it convincing that the character that I wrote, who isn't exactly very pleasant and actually a rather horrible individual, becomes redeemed by the end of it, was a little bit of a challenge, because I will assume that I
Any
wrote
kind of
like,
self-spear in the book to the author?
in some ways, I mean, to the extent that every character is a composite of people. That's how the characters are kind of developed. But so there's a part of me in George, most definitely. But oddly enough, the character I despise the most is Paulo. He's a character people gravitate to. I basically, his character, I took everything that was like what I considered most annoying about me and poured it into this person. And there's actually a little in joke on that because there's a point where George is in a situation and he's talking. He goes, "I'm starting to sound like Apollo. What's happening?" And that's like when he's starting to feel this deranged sense of himself in the book.
Right. Excellent. Well, what is next for you as a writer?
The next book, I'm very excited to.
Is it a sequel of Reason and Romance? Which direction do you
So
feel like
I want to see what people think first before I announce what that next thing is.
Okay.
But
One more quiz.
we have one more. This is multiple choice. And then I learned Pirate Treasure and Modern Pirates. So two brothers find. I'm trying to do a little more like Jules Verne. And this, the last one, I was kind of my love note to Jane Austen. My next book is going to be my love note to Jules Verne.
Oh.
Whether or not he would appreciate that is probably very wrong because writing this, I'm realizing writing it like a Coen Brothers film in some ways. Two brothers, one of them wins a mapped pirate treasure in a poker match.
Is there any?
And then they go to find the pirate treasure, but they're stopped by real life pirates.
How about an itch or desire to throw some romance in the book? Just
Oh,
as
there is romance in the
Okay,
book. There
okay.
is romance in the book. One of the characters, I mean, this is a plot point that's going to stick around. One of the characters basically loses the girl because he bet he'd win her.
Hey, not unlike real life sometimes.
Not unlike real life sometimes. So that's the next book, but I actually am considering a sequel to Reason and Romance. We'll see how sales go and whether or not people enjoy it or are interested. But honestly, I'm almost at the point where I think the story's good enough, regardless of what people think. I actually might write.
So, Terrance, if you're not one of the plethora of people here right now, you're maybe watching online or something, how can you get your hands on a copy, digital, physical, otherwise,
physical,
of
otherwise.
Reason and Romance?
Reason and Romance is available online through all major retailers. It is also available through many obscure ones across the world, including a few in Russia. So all
Can you
have to do
reach it at this link right here?
yes, you can find it at this link right here. reasonandromance.co or terrancelayhew.com and just click on the one that looks like a love book.
There you have it. Reason and Romance by Terrance Layhew. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We hope to do this again, and I do hope to start that book club.
Josh, thank you for the interview.
Thank you, Terrance. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a wrap, everybody.
That's a wrap, everyone.